Peace, Hotep Black Power. This is your brother, Maitreya Asek, the chairman of the almighty Huey Newton Gun Club DMV chapter. Um, and this is another episode of the War Report. Peace and power. Today's topic, we're going to be touching on a few things. We're going to be touching on 3 ways to spot or to identify a possible informant or agent within your organization. um, Also, we're going to be touching on Ice Cube and the moves that he's been making with with Donald Trump and with the Republican Party and his attempted moves with the Democratic Party and stuff like that. So we're going to be touching on Ice Cube as well and whatever else we can throw in there. So let's get started. Spotting a possible informant or agent or what have you. I mean, our movements have been getting infiltrated for quite some time. You can go all the way back to COINTELPRO with J. Edgar Hoover, where there were memos leaked, which stated that they were trying to prevent the rise of a possible Black Messiah. I'm definitely paraphrasing, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. And I believe that still holds strong till this day. I do believe that they want to stop the rise of a Black Messiah, but honestly, I think that instead of Black Messiahism, as you want to call it, or waiting for one individual to lead us to where we need to be, instead of a leading person, there needs to be a leading ideology, because leading people and leaders and stuff like that, they get killed, they get assassinated, they get rubbed out, whatever you want to call it. Okay, they get taken out. So as far as an individual leader coming around to lead us, I don't think that's a good idea. A lot of our leaders have been assassinated in the past, and I don't see why it would be any different in the present or the future. Okay, so with that being said, spotting possible informants, agents, you have to look for certain key aspects. Number one, if these individuals are working closely with law enforcement, you're working closely with law enforcement, you are applying for permits to do rallies, in particular Second Amendment rallies. There's no evidence of any former revolutionaries in the past applying to their open enemy for any type of permission to exercise their Second Amendment right, to patrol the neighborhoods, patrol the streets, to do community projects, community cleanup, any of these things. Community projects and community cleanups, that's different. Applying for, permission or to do stuff like that is kind of different. But when it comes to the revolutionary acts, the Second Amendment rallies, the patrolling the streets, things like that, revolutionaries do not apply for permits for that. That's just not how we rock. Okay, so if people are working very closely with law enforcement, that's definitely a red flag for me. You have to be able to recognize some of these things. Number two, when people come in and cause a lot of confusion, a lot of controversy, cause infighting amongst comrades in different organizations. Uh, when people come in and cause this type of unrest within a certain community, that's to be looked at. That is, that definitely raises a red flag for me, because I look at it as, okay, you were sent by somebody to throw salt within organizations, to disrupt the progress that we are making as black Americans in the hells of North America. You are disrupting progress. So that's how I look at it personally. Number three, and this is the third and last one. I can touch on many more things that would make me raise a red flag about individuals. But I'm just going to touch on these three because they're probably the most important. Um, Number three, somebody who just appears out of nowhere, never heard of them. Now, I can understand people laying off in the background, got secret meetings and outings and stuff that you do, secret training that you don't want nobody to know. We have certain areas where we train where nobody knows but HUEP members, and we go out and we train and stuff like that. So building and organizing in private, that's fine. But if an individual has no background within the revolutionary movement, no Panther bloodline, no HUEP bloodline, no bloodline or no attachment at any shape, form, or fashion with the movement, and all of a sudden you just arrive out of nowhere, that is something to raise an eyebrow at, definitely. Does it make you suspect? Does it make you guilty of being an agent? Not necessarily, but still, we have to be cautious. Head on the swivel, and using your peripheral vision. Uh, we have to vet these type of individuals who we feel could possibly disrupt what we are doing. I mean, going back to the Fred Hampton story, he was assassinated by a man who got him caught up was a man named William O'Neill. He was he was an admitted informant who gave the blueprints to law enforcement to take out Fred Hampton in his apartment in Chicago. He was the chairman of the new Black Panther Party. Of the Black Panther Party in Chicago. And he was taken out. This person put some type of roofie or drugs in his drink, and Fred Hampton fell into a deep sleep, what they call a REM sleep. Next thing you know, officers bust down his door and they just opened fire and they just murdered that brother in cold blood. So this is the reason why we have to be careful with people within our movement, within our vicinity, within our cipher. People have to be vetted. People have to, if the people have answers, if have questions about your background, about all of these different things, if you are a so-called leader or a man of the community, it's only right that you give these people the answers that they seek, because we have, at the end of the day, the people who you expect to follow you, they have a right to trust you and trust your leadership. Okay, so those are the three things that we should look out for the most. If they work closely with law enforcement, they're very friendly with police, they're very comfortable around law enforcement, that is definitely something that will raise a red flag. You have to be careful around people like that. Also, if they come in and they cause a lot of confusion and controversy amongst comrades, that's something to pay attention to. Also, if they are appearing out of nowhere and they have no revolutionary background, you have no idea who they are, where they came from. You definitely have the right to ask questions like, if you have funding coming in, where's your funding coming from? You have the right to ask these questions. Okay, so that's going to be it. Be careful, family. Keep your head on the swivel, like I said before. Um, Always watch your surroundings and who you let in your inner circle. We are in some trying times right now, and people are definitely trying to infiltrate different organizations within the black community because, if we're not controlled, then there goes the status quo in the United States of America. They have to try to keep a certain control over us for that reason. So with that being said, I'm trying to understand the gripe with Ice Cube and what people are saying about Ice Cube. First off, let me say this: the homie Ice Cube, big homie Ice Cube, does not have any background or record of cooning, of selling out. He was always a very strong, opinionated brother with a powerful voice. You can hear that in his music. You can hear that in his speeches, and you can hear and see that in his real life actions in the past and present. Um, he has no background of selling us out, so I don't understand why people are getting upset because he presented a plan for black people. I don't think that he wrote that. I think maybe he had something to do with it in some shape, form, or fashion. Um, but for him to be involved in that, that's history within itself because that's the first plan that was ever released by at least by a Republican Party that address black people in general. Now, I'm no fool, and when you go into that bill, that platinum plan, and you read it, and that's how they that's how they trick you. That's how they present their trick bag to you. The heading could say black, blackity black all over the heading, but when you start getting into the bill and you start reading it, and you see things like minority, inner city, you see stuff like that, and you start seeing the word black less and less when you the further you get into the article, and you see stuff like minorities and inner cities and all that stuff. Those are all different words that are used to maneuver around our issues, around black Americans' issues. So, and that platinum plan is full of that type of fluff. So, do I necessarily take it seriously? No, I don't. But I can say this: I applaud Ice Cube for even having something to do with that because I can say that that's more than what the Democrats are offering us right now because all they're offering is a swift fu, if you will, and nothing else, nothing more. They are, they're not focusing on black issues. So there you have it. I don't have an issue with what Cube has done. I think he's a decent brother, and I think that he's very sincere, and he loves his people. He's always showed that. I don't see why he would do any different now. Peace and power, and I'll see you in the next War Report.